Hi, and welcome to this PHIDU tutorial, where we will cover how to aggregate data to larger areas to create a new aggregated percent, IRSD, or age-standardised rate or ratio. This might be useful for creating statistics for a larger area that is specific to your project or council area, for an example. We will also cover how to rebase age-standardised ratios and age-standardised rates, which can also be used to recreate rates based on your state or territory rather than on an Australian standard. First, we will look at aggregating percentages. To start, you will need to have the numerators and denominators for a group of areas. And for an example, we will look at a group of local government areas, which we have numbered here from 1 through to 10. The cells highlighted in yellow are the numerator and denominator data for each of your constituent areas. The cells in blue are the aggregated totals for the numerators and denominators, and from this, a new aggregated percentage will be calculated. So we simply sum the numerators for the areas together. In this example, the aggregated numerators equal 100. Then we sum the denominators for the areas together, and that gives us a total of 169. We now have an aggregated numerator and an aggregated denominator. We then do a simple percentage calculation with the new aggregated numerators and denominators. So 100 divided by the new denominator, which is 169, multiplied by 100. We now have a percentage of the aggregated data, which is 59.2. Next, we will be looking at aggregating the Index of Relative Socioeconomic Disadvantage, or the IRSD scores. To do this, you will need the IRSD score and the URP or ERP, which is the usual resident population or estimated resident population of the areas you would like to combine. In this example, we're going to be using the URP. So again, we would use the example of a group of local government areas. If one of your areas does not have an IRSD score, do not include it in your aggregated data. The first step is to multiply the URP population by the IRSD score for each of the local government areas you are going to use. Next, we sum all of these together. In this example, you can see that we get a sum of 259,782,774, which is circled on the slide. The second step is to then sum all of the URP populations for all of the areas that you are aggregating. You can see here that we get a sum of 258,445. The final step, step 3, is to divide the sum of the IRSD times the URP populations that we got in step 1 by the sum of the URP population from step 2. This will give you an IRSD score for the aggregated area. In this case, 1005 is the new IRSD score for your group of LGAs. The final aggregation we will do is for age-standardised rates. Without access to raw data that is used to calculate the rates, you will need to approximate the age-standardised rates for the aggregated areas. To do this, you will need the number and the rate for each of your constituent areas that you wish to aggregate. The same process can also be used when looking at age-standardised ratios. So again, we are using the example of the LGAs. Firstly, for each constituent area, divide the number by the rate and then sum all of these, as you can see in step 1. In this case, the sum is 12.5. Step 2, we sum the number of all of the constituent areas, which equals 1,757 in this instance. Finally, divide the number of the constituent areas from step 2 by the sum of the numbers divided by the rates that we created in step 1. This will give you a very close approximate of the age-standardised rate for your group of areas. For this case, the new aggregated rate is 141.1. When looking at total fertility rates, the same method can be used. As for the aggregating of the age standardised rates, where we replace the number with the number of births and the rate with the total fertility rate. A template for helping you to aggregate is found on our website at the address that you can see in the slide. The next part of the tutorial will be looking at how to rebase standardised rates. Ratios. To do this, firstly, we will need the Australian ratio, in this instance, which is always 100, and the ratio that you want to rebase to. And in this example, we have South Australia, and that might be 97. We then have the standardised ratios for the areas that we want to rebase. Again, we have used local government areas, and in this example, we're looking at LGA 1. The formula used to rebase the ratio is this: the Australian ratio divided by the state ratio multiplied by the ratio of the LGA. So in this instance, we have 100 divided by 97 times 96, which equals 99. So the new ratio rebased on the South Australian ratio is now 99 for LGA 1. We can also rebase age standardised rates once the ratio has been rebased. To do this, we can take the rebased ratio for the area. So again, we're looking at LGA 1, divide it by 100, and then multiply by the state aged standardised rate that we want to base to. So again, we'll just pretend that this is South Australia that we're looking at. So in this example, LGA's rebased ratio of 99 is divided by 100 and then multiplied by the South Australian age standardised rate, which is 127 in this example. The result is a rebased age standardised rate for LGA 1 of 125.7. This concludes our tutorial. If you have any further questions or queries, please contact us on our email address at PHIDU@tua.edu.au, or for more information, head to our website. Thank you for joining us today.